boy here. After a while of waiting, taking advantage of the fact that university vacations are finally here, we continue with the second part of this video. But before we continue, don't forget to like, share this video with your friends, hit the subscribe button, and activate the little bell to be aware of what I upload. Also, I want to give a huge thanks to all the people who have been supporting me and helping me through this process. Their social medias and channels will be in the description of this video. And without further ado, let's continue! Arc 1. Golden Nuggets Abandoned Mines. Previously, we stated that Nick and Thomas began their adventure and mission to save Shadow Pokémon and stop Cypher. All this while someone is watching them from the shadows. At this point, we have two options where to go visit first. We can go to Agate Village or go to Pirate Town. While in terms of gameplay, the player can go to any of these new locations outlined in the map, and I recommend going to Agate Village first just to have access to the Relic Stone and have our EVs purified once and for all, which the sooner the better for us. Just for the sake of the story, we will head to Pirate Town. And let's pretend that our EVs have been already purified by this point. Pirate Town is a curious town full of bandits, mercenaries, miners, and even ex-convicts. In this city, many trainers stop there, even some they are somewhat devious. Even so, this town has a reputation for containing some of the strongest trainers and the famous Duel Square. It's very common to see both native and foreign trainers go through there to test their skills and strength in Pokemon battle, even try their luck in the Colosseum. Lately, the crime rate in Pirate Town has been decreasing thanks to the reinforcement of the local police in the Ore region. Anyway, Nick and Thomas head there following the advice Michael gave them to start this high-risk investigation and mission. Upon arrival, we found that town has a slight visual change with a variety of color and street art decorating the walls of some buildings, giving a unique touch to this arid and mining town. In that, the duo is received by Kale, who subtly talks to us after seeing the works of street art, to look at the snack machines, to have the protagonist, to which he calmly tells us that he assumes that we should be the two guys sent by the Opro, which might keyword him. In this part, particularly to be able to enter the town, Kale will tell us to a Pokemon battle in pairs being supported by a partner, with the intention of testing us. It doesn't matter if we win or lose. At the end of the battle, Kale will give us the instructions of where the mayor's house and building is located, which is located where the OBNS building used to be in Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness. And before leaving us to continue on our way, Kale tells the duo that they really need to worry about improving their teamwork, because if they continue like this, Cypher will crush them without much trouble. In this way, the player can explore freely and face some native and foreign trainers, such as capturing their shadow Pokemon. Once past this, we will arrive to the building and house of the new mayor of Pirate Town. And upon entry, we find the new mayor is no other than Silva, who is communicating by call with his old mentor Donkey. Silva asks Dugin for advice on what he can do with his apprentice and future right-hand man, Febo. We learn that Silva has tried everything to make Febo stay out of trouble because of his loose talk and try harder than he does. This because he doesn't want him to make the same mistakes he made when he was younger. Duncan came up with an idea and tells the young mayor why he doesn't give his apprentice a rival. According to him, he has heard that this metal is widely used in other regions and that this metal usually works. Silva noticed the presence of Nick and Thomas. Because of that, he says goodbye to Duncan and hangs up the call. The young mayor apologized for the discourtesy and welcomed us, saying that Kale has already warned him in advance of our arrival behalf of Opro. The duo asked the mayor for help to begin this investigation and discover Cypher movements. Silva, for obvious reason, is willing to help us, but it will take him some time to do the investigation. But in the meantime, he asked us a small favor. Thomas interrupted him, saying, Silva begs the boys to please help him. He promised them if they help him, they can ask for any favor they need, as long as it's within his reach. The duo have their debates. Nick ends up accepting even if Thomas doesn't quite agree, but Nick tells the Paldean boy that even if the priority is to defeat Cypher, it wasn't wrong to help others from time to time. Moreover, his grandpa always told him that even a good deed, no matter how small, can make a big difference. Thomas takes a deep breath and accepts, remembering that this his parents taught him, and it will be disrespectful not follow their teachings as well. Silva tells Nick that his grandfather must be a very wise man and he should be proud of him. Nick laughs a little uncomfortably and putting on a fake smile replies the new mayor that yes, his grandpa is a wise man. Thomas knows this and begins to question who is this grandpa of Nick really was. Leaving that aside, we have a minor mission to find Silva's apprentice Febo. The mayor gives us clues to where his apprentice might be. We will go exploring the whole town, asking some people about Febo as well as interrogate them to see if we find any information about Cypher. The answer that some inhabitants give us regarding Febo are mixed. Some say that he is a good guy, that thanks to him, Pirate Town looks spectacular with those works of street art. Others say that he is chill and cool, but others mention that he is loose-mouthed and annoying. But if there's one thing they all agree on, it is that Febo is a bit lazy. And with respect to the investigation on Cypher, people tell us a little bit about how they are thrown out about and how they left scars on the other region from both the first incident and the second incident. At the end, we find Febo being attended by his two Pokémon, but worry about their trainer. Febo puts some bandages and tells his fellow Pokémon do not worry, that he was fine. It wasn't the first time he had been beaten. Let me introduce you to our rival in this story, Febo. Febo is a teenager between 16 and 17 years old who lives in Pirate Town and is the apprentice of Silva. He's a pretty laid-back, creative, fresh-minded, charismatic in his own way, patient but somewhat loose-talked, and a big slacker, and too honest to say things straight out. Thanks to his loose talk and extreme honesty, he has got into trouble even if it is not for bad intentions. He is a street artist. Thanks to him, Pirate Town has received a positive visual change, plus he can occasionally be heard singing a little or humming music. The boy takes his time to get things done, although he aspires to be the mayor of Pirate Town someday. He holds his mentor Silva in high esteem and doesn't tolerate injustice or being lied to. His Pokemon team for now is confirmed only by a Smeargle, which he named Pencil, this referring to the fact that all artists since childhood always use a pencil or crayons to make drawings, and a female rose Shiny, which he named Mona, this being reference to the famous painting of the Mona Lisa. We will meet Febo later in the story, but for now, let's continue with the story. A teenager noticed Nick and Thomas greets them in his own way with a howdy. The duo asked him if he was Febo, to which the young man answered yes and asked them if they need anything. Here the two options will appear in which the player must choose between Nick or Thomas to confront Febo. Depending on which the two protagonists you choose, Febo's answer will vary a bit. Although safe response due to his extreme honesty and unintentional low throw will end up making Thomas angry, and Nick will have to grab him so he doesn't hit him. It's because of this, the protagonist you choose will challenge Febo to a Pokemon battle, and the young street artist without hesitation accepts the challenge. In this way, the protagonist you choose will go with Febo to the duel square. In the duel square, some locals and tourists will be watching the battle. Even so, should the protagonist we choose to kick Febo's ass, the other protagonist in the audience is also cheering us on. Thus begins the first battle against our rival, Febo, who takes out Pencil and Mona. There isn't much to say in this battle except the intention is to defeat the guy who will have more or less a little basic strategy with his two Pokemon companions, but that doesn't mean it's a joke at all. Once Febo is defeated, his defeat response may vary depending on where you choose, Nick or Thomas. After this, almost a pair of the inhabitants who don't like Febo take the opportunity to laugh off his defeat, who deep down feels very embarrassed and humiliated by this crushing defeat. Even so, Febo acts in a mature way, saying that it was a great battle, shaking the hand of the protagonist we choose to fight, and he simply retires in silence. After this, both Nick and Thomas wonder if they weren't a little hard on him. Even so, they don't give the matter so much thought and head back close to the mayor's house and building. As we enter, we find Febo standing there with a very serious face arguing with his mentor. Febo senses that we were sent by his mentor. Because of this, Silva asks the duo to leave for the moment. In this way, the duo leaves the building. We have the freedom to explore the pirate town, but we must reach a point where we'll see some curious Pokémon that catch Nick's attention, making him to go to investigate what is it, while Thomas follows him trying to prevent him from getting lost. With that, we discover a new area which consists going through some alleys. On time, we reach the back area of the nearby buildings. At the moment we arrive, those two mysterious Pokémon are revealed to be a pair of Eevee evolutions, and next to them, we were greeted by their trainers. They welcome us with their characteristic greeting. The mysterious duo introduce themselves as Daedalus and Perditz. Meet the brothers, Perditz and Daedalus. Perditz and Daedalus are dual brothers as young aspiring inventors who travel the world together in search of inspiring and collecting material for their own inventions. Both are in our region in search of treasures, any kind of junk that will serve them as material for their inventions, discover a bit of the story of the region, it is has any, and even go in search of inspiration that this arid and unusual region could offer. They came here at an invitation of Michael and Joby after meeting them in an inventors convention in the Kanto region. Perditz is between 14 and 15 years old, being the older brother of the duo, while Daedalus is a boy between 13 and 14 years old, being the younger brother of the duo. Daedalus was initially hesitant to go to the other region, but in the end it was Perditz, his older brother, who convinced him. The duo is inspired by the great and famous inventor, according to the Greek mythology, Daedalus and his nephew Perditz, or in other versions, Perditz is the name of Daedalus' older sister. I decide to merge both versions of this myth, being that this family-friendly version of the duo are siblings and Perditz is a boy. The function that these brothers will have to be exchange rare or valuable objects that they themselves have collected both in the other region and in other regions they have visited around the world. In exchange for working for them, bring them specific objects that both ask us in form of missions. As a reward, they will exchange us for the objects we need. We will see them at different points through the other region, and they will be sending us notifications through the PDA about news and new missions. What's more, in daily events, the objects offered as reward will vary. Having already introduced these characters, the brothers will each have an Eevee evolution. I present these new Eevee evolutions, Avian and Sphenion. Avian, the aviation Pokémon. Avian's flight skills are spectacular, being able to see from miles away and gracefully evades moves that have type advantages. It is a playful Pokémon that loves to fly, especially in sunny days. In stats, its physical attack stands out as well as its speed. It has a unique ability called Pilot Sight. This ability consists of movements that have type advantage such as Stone Edge, Zap Cannon, etc., lowering its accuracy to 15%. But this ability doesn't affect three things. 1. It doesn't affect attacks that don't have accuracy. 2. This doesn't apply to the partner that you have in double or triple battles. And 3. This ability nullifies if face a Pokémon that has Mold Breaker ability. Its evolution method consists of teaching Eevee the Prophecy move, and you have to scan 5 Flying-type Pokémon or an entire evolutionary line of a Flight-type Pokémon. This is all a reference to the famous Greek myth of Daedalus with his son Icarus. In addition, Avian is also inspired by the drawings led by the famous Italian painter and inventor of the Renaissance era, Leonardo da Vinci. However, his shiny version is partly a reference to the color of Da Vinci's plans and drawings, while its normal versions refer to the color of the sky during the day. This is the Eevee evolution that Daedalus possesses. As for Sphenion, the Sphinx Pokémon, it is an intelligent and strong wild Pokémon, which is considered to be one of the least friendly Eevee evolutions. In ancient times, it used to act as a guardian of hidden treasures, and it has a natural rivalry with Espions to prove who is the most intelligent. and tends to clash with the Sylvians as it doesn't understand affectly bonds very well. In stats, his defense stand out as well as his special attack. It has a unique ability called Send Fortune. This ability consists in increasing the precision of movements and chances of triggering beneficial side effects based on a look for the team. But this ability only works in a sandstorm, and if the effects of the sandstorm are off, are so those of this ability. Its evolution method consists of having EV equipment with the item called Dusty Laurel to make it train in specific sandy territories, or having nearby while solving puzzles in the desert. All this being a reference to the fact that the Sphinx were said to be magical creatures as enigmatic guardians of tombs and temples on the ancient Egypt, besides also being a reference to the Sphinx that appears in the Greek myth of King Oedipus. As for the shiny version, it is a reference to the so-called Himalaya salt, a type of salt which has a pinkish hue. This is the evolution that Perdix has. These characters and their evolution are advanced, and we will see them again in my next Pokemon project. With all that cleared up, let's continue with the story. The brothers began to tell us a little about their travels and explain the reason why they're in the other region. And they proposed to make a deal to work for them by helping them to get some specific objects in exchange for a reward. The duo are in somehow impressed by what Perdix and Daedalus were telling them, although at that same time it is hard to believe, to which they remain alert and question them why to not go to look for them themselves. The brothers respond that was the original idea they had, until they confirmed Cypher's return, and they being tourists more than ever must keep hidden and low profile. The brothers, to prove they were telling the truth, Perdix reveals some samples of the evolutionary stones to evolve Eevee, 2 empty discs, and a Dusty Laurel. Daedalus calmly mentioned that since we have one Eevee each, it is our first time, we were allowed to choose only one of these items for free. But Perdix told them to choose well, because after there are no refunds, and if they want to get another one, they will have to complete the quest. Daedalus told his older brother not to get too excited, although Perdix honestly says nothing in life is free, and to take this a courtesy from them. It's because of that Nick and Thomas accepts the deal. Ladies and gentlemen, the time has come. In this part, the player has the freedom to choose one of the evolution methods we have able to evolve our EVs, either from Flareon, Jolteon, Vaporeon, Espeon, Umbreon, Leafeon, Glaceon, Sylveon, and we can even choose both Avion and Sphenion. This decision will have influence not only for the whole adventure capturing the Shadow Pokemon, but also for the beat-em-up mode, as such Eevee evolution has its unique fighting style in that mode. But to continue with the story, we will vary the Eevee evolution in this part. And to start, the Eevee evolution of the moment will be Umbreon for Nick and Vaporeon for Thomas. And without further ado, let's continue! Once we have chosen the object and have evolved our Eevee evolutions, the duo thanks the brothers for their help, although they'll still keep their guard up. And before leaving, the brothers give us a chip that they designed to keep us updated with the notifications and news they send us about the new missions, and share their contacts with us. In this way, the duo leaves the back alley and returns to the building and hope at the new mayor of the town. When they return, Silva and Febo will already be outside. Febo, with a genius smile, thanks the duo for having given him that beating. Until now, he haven't realized that he had to make a few changes, as well as make a little effort more. And he already talked to his mentor. He told him that he will leave Pirate Town for a while. Not only did he give himself some time to reflect, but also, if he wants to improve both as trainer and as a person, he had to give himself some time to explore the other region. We have a small cinematic of Febo putting on his glasses and turning on his scooter, not before telling Nick and Thomas that they will see each other another time, but for now, they had better be training. And so, Febo leaves, disappearing in the horizon. Silva thanks us heartily for the help, and as he promised, he informed us that while investigating, he detects signals and signs of movements by Cypher in some part of the immense great desert of Ore. He gave us the coordinates of where this mysterious location was, Silva also tells us that he will continue investigating the possible movements of Cypher, and if that he gets any information of we need his help, we are welcome. With that, Silva hands up his PDA contact, proceeds to return to his office and home. Once this is solved, we can proceed with the adventure. Nick and Thomas have a long journey to the coordinates that Silva gave them. In this way, we will arrive at a mysterious and abandoned mining town somewhere in the desert near some cliffs. This town is called Golden Nugget Village. Golden Nugget Village is a mysterious and abandoned mining town that has now been rediscovered by Cypher. It's theorized that this town used to be a rich and prosperous mining town in the distant past, at least until the mineral extraction dried up, forcing their former inhabitants to abandon this town. This to its deteriorate, destroy, and even burying buildings and premises among and accumulate sands and dunes of the arid desert of the other region. Currently, this abandoned mining town is nothing more than a ghost town which has become the home to some Pokémon, and most of them being of the ghost type. This abandoned mining town is inspired by some mining ghost towns in Arizona, but mainly by the ghost town of Goldenfield, and including the legendary gold mines of said town. It always made me curious not be able to see even one ghost town or a ghost house in the other region, so I decided to create one. The protagonists upon arrival were surprised by the discovery of this town. The duo tries to contact Locker about what they discovered, but unfortunately the signal on this place is almost null, but almost impossible to send message or make calls on the PDA. In this part, we will have to play detectives and go to look the clues for where all these alleged movements are being carried out by Cypher. By Nick's words, he believes it might be an operation. At one point, the duo enters to the town's abandoned wet saloon. While investigating, they found some sort of dirt node. The boss notifies the peons under his command that they must go to the town's abandoned mines. Nick can't help but feel relief at this, thinking that at least now they knew where to go. But Thomas, with a silent but serious look on his face, reads the note. The moment they hear a shout that says,
¿Dónde está?
With that, some Cypher peons immediately entered to the abandoned Western Saloon, confronting both Nick and Thomas. One of them seemed to know Nick and Noyan, pointing at him saying,
No sé si decirte que eres valiente o tonto al seguir aquí. Pero gracias a ti nos metimos en muy serios problemas. Asher. Ahora, o comienzas a devolver los dos Pokésapos que tú robaste y te entregas pacíficamente, o resolvemos esto por las malas.
Nick can't help but get scared and squirm a little when he sees that some of the Cypher peons are his former colleagues. This was the last thing he wanted to see their faces again. But Thomas shoots to Nick that he shouldn't be a coward now, that they, especially his grandpa, needs him more than ever, and it was his own, Cypher was responsible for capturing them. The Cypher peon, who knows Nick, is present to hear that, saying that Thomas something like,
¿Pero de qué estás hablando, mocoso? Ese cobarde no tiene familiares, mucho menos un abuelo.
Thomas is surprised to hear that, but Nick immediately shuts him up. Also, taking into account the words of support he said to him a moment ago, the former Cypher peon stands in front of the Paldean boy and, still trembling, shoots angrily to his former colleagues. In this part is where the action starts, where both Nick and Thomas will have to make their way through the entire Golden Nugget Village, facing all Cypher peons that are in their way. Over here, you can capture some shadow Pokemon, so be prepared. Once we have defeated all the Cypher peons in the area and captured their shadow Pokemon, the duo proceeds to head through the entrance of the abandoned mines. On the way, Thomas can't help but ask Nick what that had all been about. It refers what he told in the Pokemon HQ lots has been a lie, but Nick, already tired, tells Thomas that was not that time. Thomas insists, telling him that he can't believe that he's been lying to him all this time. Nick, in the end, can't help but stop in his tracks and yell that it wasn't a lie. Thomas and their Pokemon were startled to see the look of Nick being angry. The teen starts to take a deep breath and, looking serious to Tom, tell him that there's things that he doesn't know about him, that includes his family. Thomas can help but feel bad and look at his Fuecoco. Before he could say anything else or approach Nick, Riolu intervened with a serious and silenced look, implying that he had enough and that for now he won't touch the subject. With that, the duo enters to the Golden Nuggets abandoned mines. In this part, being a kind of dungeon, the protagonists have to make their way through the dungeon, which being a maze, they are dead ends. Sometimes we will encounter both wild Pokemon and Cypher peons in the process. But that's not at all, because from the moment we enter the mines, something will be watching us and try to stop us from advancing through the mines, being sometimes annoying. Once past all the section, we will reach a large area inside the mines, which is decorated with some other minerals, making a nice scenario to see. And before continuing, I make a small parenthesis here that says that from this point and onwards, we will have action cinematics where the player must be ready to press the buttons on their controls, making the experience more dynamic and interactive as possible. With this, we have a cinematic where both Nick and Thomas, accompanied by Riolu and Fuecoco, walk very carefully in the area. Nick speaks quietly, telling both Riolu, Thomas, and his Fuecoco to be alert. At the moment, Riolu stops in drive, detecting something, and immediately turns where Fuecoco is. On the screen, we will see an action command in which the player has to press it quickly. In case the player fails, we will have an inevitable game over. If we manage to press the button command in time, Riolu, making a quick jump, attacks with a bacon wake and a snack ball that came out of nowhere, destroying it in the process and saving the little Fuecoco in time. This surprised the rest. Because of this, the protagonists as well as their Pokemon stick together to avoid another surprise attack. An echoing Whistler starts to be heard as a mysterious figure makes an appearance, who carries some sort of object with him in his hand, and from his perspective, you can see the reflection of Nick and Thomas' faces through the pair of bright crimson red glasses. After the cinematic, the mysterious guy starts congratulating us, saying that our Pokemon are good specimens. Thomas and Nick, just like their two starters, stay alert with this mysterious guy. Nick nervously and without taking his eye off him, thanks him, but still asks who he was, to which the mysterious guy, in a friendly, calm manner, apologized for his bad manners.
This is Snake. Now.
Meet this important member of Cypher and boss of the Arc 1, the Cypher Snagger, Ace. Ace is a mysterious Pokemon hunter and bounty hunter which has hired by Cypher, being one of his best snaggers. Not much is known about him, except that he is arrogant, vain, ambitious, greedy, cruel, and loves to intimidate and inflict fear on his victims, as well to go hunting and feel the adrenaline that Pokemon battles offer him. The Pokemon are afraid of him, and most of them run away from him. It's known that in the short time he has been in the Ore region, he has been sold by the authorities of the Ore region and even by the international police. When it comes to hunting, nothing escapes from him. He is characterized by the fact that every time he makes an appearance, leaps and walks around, he always lets out a whistle. If Ace has set his dirty and greedy eyes on your Pokemon, consider the Pokemon lost, because that man will not stop until he gets what he wants so badly. This guy has no honor, and he doesn't mind using the lowest methods in order to obtain his goal. Earn a good amount of money for hunting safe Pokemon, or simply hunt those Pokemon just for fun. Ace is inspired by an outlaw of the Wild West. In this case, it takes inspiration from the young outlaw Billy the Kid, among others, and adapts to the semi-futuristic and somewhat cyberpunk aesthetics that characterize the Ore region. Ace also takes inspiration from a Latin American legend, specifically from Venezuela called El Silbón, as well as a slight inspiration from the Mexican legend of El Charro Negro. Some inhabitants of the Ore region swear to seeing Ace riding a kind of black Rapidash at night or at dusk. As for the object he's holding, it is a snack gun. It is an invention derived from the snack machine created by Cypher. This small weapon, as curious as might be seen, is able to shoot snack balls faster and with a greater freedom of movement and a greater range of launch, or in this case, shoot. compared to the common snack machine. The snack balls that the snack gun shoots can be bounced on different surfaces, as if they were balls. This tiny weapon maybe looks ridiculous, but can be very effective as well as quite dangerous in a grown and capable hands. And to avoid from making noise while firing, Ace has fitted with a silencer. Returning to the story, Ace, who starts talking us in a casual as well friendly way, says that he was somewhat shocked at how a couple of kids and their Pokémon entered his territory without permission. But he surmised the two must have found the letter he lost in the old salon. Nick and Thomas, upon hearing that, analyze the situation a bit, and it doesn't take them so long to realize that they have fell into a trap. Due to the facial expressions of relation of the protagonist, Ace slightly chuckles softly.
Kept you waiting, huh?
Without further ado, the first boss battle against the Cypher Snagger Ace begins inside the Golden Nuggets abandoned mines. Ace's Pokémon team for this first encounter is made up as follows: Houndoom, Vigoroth, Grovyle, and Shadow Alola. Ace's strategies consist of spamming all kinds of movement that immediately provokes the state of poisoning, together with the use of the Facet move. In this also includes the Shadow Pokémon he carries with him. That along with Vigoroth's stat boost, Grovyle's Overgrow ability, and Houndoom's Dark Pulse, it's going to be a bit of annoying but challenging battle. So get ready with your potions and antidotes. After defeating him in this battle and capturing his shadow Pokémon, Ace defeat dialogue will vary depending on which of the two protagonists you have chosen. Once out of the battle, Ace just calmly said that he just a little overconfident, but it was still an interesting battle. Nick and Thomas try to confront the mysterious Cypher Snagger, but he simply replies that he would love to stay and chat with us, but we already have a pending appointment with someone else. In this way, a new cinematic runs in which a laugh is heard in further echo, which makes the two starters of the protagonist are the first one to detect the danger by being on guard and being alert. The protagonist that we have not chosen notice that someone dropped a strange coin near the other if we choose, but the coin begins to click quickly and make a strange noise to what the protagonist that we have not chosen will shoot the name of the other and proceeds to push it. After this, the coin explodes. This causes the two to fly away, and the unchosen protagonist who helped the other gets hurt in the process. He started to stay with him to try to help him. Even if he is hurt, he will try to help us. In the hole was created after the explosion of the coin, a Pokémon appears coming out the hole while laughing like a madman. It's a shadow Pokémon, in this case a shadow Goldengo, but its color and part of his physical appearance was different from what a normal Goldengo looks like. Both protagonists are startled to see it because it was completely different from a common Goldengo, but also it doesn't look like a common shadow Pokémon either. This Pokémon taunts the protagonist, who takes another explosive coin from his chest ready to throw it against us. Ace, for his part, will be enjoying the show and chaos, while the sinister Pokémon hunter simply proceeds to retreat, not before turning around to see our protagonist. With this, Ace will leave the place, and while both Nick and Thomas try to follow him, the two will be intercepted with another explosive coin that explodes instantly, launched by that shadow Goldengo. The two are forced to have to face that annoying and dangerous shadow Pokémon. And the cinematic concludes by revealing the name of this mini-boss, Roaring Shadow Goldengo. Yes, here there will be a special shadow Pokémon that, unlike the normal ones, the darkness in the doors of their closed hearts of these Pokémon has reached to the point of corrupting them, making them suffer small changes in their physical appearance, and that they always reflect phosphorescent energy of unknown origin. It is believed that this energy reflected in their bodies is the reason why they are full of adrenaline, being highly noisy, chaotic, destructive, and out of control, which do not obey the orders of absolutely no one, except those coming from the ultimate shadow Pokémon. Consider it as some kind of Supreme Master. These special Shadow Pokémon, I have called them Roaring Shadow Pokémon. We will see more of this special Shadow Pokémon later, but for now, I introduce you the first mini-boss of the Arc 1. Roaring Shadow Goldegon is a highly chaotic Pokémon, mischievous and highly greedy. Loves to cause explosion wherever he goes, throwing chaos around him. Like the other Roaring Shadow Pokémon, this one only obeys the orders coming from the ultimate Shadow Pokémon. Its characteristic move is called Shadow Coin. Shadow Coin is a special attack, which consists in that Roaring Shadow Goldegon can summon almost unlimited coins from his chest, which throws to his opponents as if they were remote-controlled projectiles, and they explode on the impact with anything as if they grenades. In addition, there is a 15% chance that these coins will cause burns to our starter Pokémon. So be prepared with your potions and burning heals, because you're gonna need it. But we have the blessing that if you abuse too much of this move, Roaring Shadow Goldengo will get tired and he will be forced to lose on turn in the process just to recharge. Once clarified this, let's continue. The duo has to defeat this special Shadow Pokémon fast, and is threatening the chaos to collapse inside the mines, trapping not only them but also the few Pokémon that live there peacefully. Thus begins the battle against Roaring Shadow Goldegon. We will start in the same place we were fought previously against Cypher Snagger Ace. Roaring Shadow Goldegon will start attacking us with his set of moves, including his special move. Nick and Thomas must dodge and evade at all costs the moves that this special Shadow Pokémon throws at them. We will have to find the right moment to take out one of our starters, thus activating the beat 'em up mode. From here we can individually control either Riolu, Fuecoco, or one of our Eevee evolutions. But if you want a traditional battle, here you can apply the common battle system. It depends on the player's taste. But back to the battle. At a central point when Roaring Shadow Goldegon's light bar gets a little low, he will start to go through the walls, invoking his flying skateboard, so Nick and Thomas will be forced to give a chase to this special Shadow Pokémon. At times, the cheater will try to take the duo to dead spots to set them traps using his special move, so be careful. Once past that section, we will move to another lake area like the previous one. Here we can calmly go back to focus only on dungeon invading and activate the beat 'em up mode using our starters. And so we'll be successfully switching back and forth between these two sections. When we learn half of the Roaring Shadow Goldegon's HP bar, not only he will become angered, but he will become to start to be more hostile in the use of his moveset, being even faster than before when using them. Even in the chase section, he will start to take more complicated routes in order to take down the protagonist. Once his HP bar is almost empty, some action commands will be activating, which our starter will be charged their strongest attack to give the decouple degrees to the mini-boss. This will apply to all the fights against the mini-boss, almost similar to the final attack in the Battle of Giants in the Mario Luigi saga. Once the chosen protagonist has given the cup degrees, he can calmly use his snack machine and capture this special Shadow Pokémon, thus concluding the mini-boss fight of the Arc 1. After that, the duo will be fainting very exhausted for all the adrenaline caused by this crazy, chaotic, and dangerous battle. But they have managed to capture this dangerous special Shadow Pokémon, saving the few wild Pokémon that inhabit the place. Nick asked Thomas if he was alright, the place that he is, but that they should leave for now. But just as he said that, explosions are here coming from outside, causing an inevitable cave inside the abandoned mines. The duo try to escape, but suddenly falling rocks blocks them, separate them from their starter Pokémon, and the screen becomes completely dark.